Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Facebook Live this Wednesday. We're so happy to see you. My name is Hannah. I'm the Marketing Communications and Events Manager here at Gilda's Club. And we're thrilled to be joined by Beth Shepherd, one of the social workers we have on staff, who's going to be talking to us about managing stress and different coping methods that you can use as you deal with the stress or overwhelming feelings you might have in your time. We're so glad that you made time to watch this video this week, and we wanted to let you know that we have a whole host of virtual programming that most of our traditional in-person programs have moved virtual, and you can find more information about Gilda's Club and the free cancer and grief emotional health support we offer at gildasclubgr.org. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Beth.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I appreciate you getting us started off on a good note. So hello, everyone. My name is Beth Shepherd, as Hannah mentioned, and I'm on the program staff at Gilda's Club Grand Rapids. I've been there for nearly 13 years, working with adults and children both. Previously to that, I worked as a case manager and therapist at Forest View Hospital in Grand Rapids. As a social worker, it's such a privilege for me to walk along beside people as they experience and work through challenges in their life. Whether it's cancer or grief, like we focus on here at Gilda's Club, or any other challenges in life, stress is a very real part of our lives. There are everyday stresses of regular life, and then there can be added stress of physical or mental illness, financial difficulty, strained relationships, additional responsibilities, changed circumstances, such as right now when COVID-19 has significantly disrupted our lives, various losses, and we could really list many more. We could say that even just living is stressful. Because I know that even just talking about stress can increase our stress, let's pause for a moment and get a little bit more relaxed. We really can think so much better when we are a little more relaxed. So if you'd like to, please participate in these brief movements with me. First of all, let's move our shoulders up, lift them high up, maybe even tighten our jaw, our face, make it tighter, and now let it go. Let's do that again. Maybe take a deep breath, raise those shoulders up, tighten your jaw, now gradually let it go. One more time. Let's lift those shoulders, tighten our jaw. Oh, I'm feeling the tension. Now I'm going to let that tension go. Oh, that feels so good. Now I notice my neck is a little tight, so I want to stretch out my neck a little bit, and be careful when you do this, not to stretch your neck too far. But if you would like to, please lean your head over to one side, and you can even drop that other shoulder down and just feel a little bit of a stretch along your neck. Don't take it any farther than it can go comfortably. And we'll hold that for a few moments, even as we're breathing. We're turning our heads up, and let's do the other side. Tipping my head over, letting my shoulder drop down. Now just stretching out that neck a little bit and holding it for a few seconds. Thank you. Now, let's do something with our arms. Let's lift them up high. Let's stretch them up, and let's imagine even that you are a tree and these are your branches. You're stretching your branches up toward the sun. I'm stretching my back, I'm stretching my arms, I'm stretching my shoulders. That stretch feels good, not too hard. Don't take it beyond what you can do comfortably. And now I'm lowering my arms down. Now for our last exercise, I want you to do a little bit of imagining. Let's pretend that you have a balloon or a feather or a leaf in your hand. And let's just blow that, maybe from one side of your computer to the other, or your device. So I'm imagining that I have a feather, and so I'm blowing that. And look, I was so good, it landed on my other hand. So now we can just relax a little bit more and start to get into our talk for today, which is about stress management. When we talk about stress, what we're talking about is a physical, mental, or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension. Stresses can be external from the outside or internal, coming from our bodies themselves. The things that cause stress are called stressors. Because each person is a unique individual, stressors will not look the same for each person. And what might cause stress for you might not cause stress for another person. There are many ways to deal with stress, but when in the middle of a stressful situation, we might not remember our options for dealing with it. Today, we're going to talk about a 3-step way to recognize and choose a coping strategy that works for us. You may decide you want to take notes during this portion. I'll be showing a few different diagrams as we go along. So the first step in this process is to actually recognize what the things are that are causing our stress, those stressors that I was talking about. And we can make a listing of these. Now, you might not have thought about before what is actually causing your stress, but just feeling that you are stressed out and not really knowing why. So this first step, beginning to list or recognize what our stressors are, is the first step of beginning to deal with it, because then we understand what is really causing our stress. So I'm going to show you some examples of ways that you can write down and list the things that are stressing you. Before I even show you those, though, I want to just say, I know this can be stressful even thinking about it. So I want you to know that it's okay to relax. It's okay to work on it a little bit at a time. It's okay to take breaks from this. It's okay to just say, okay, I'll write down one thing and then I'll come back to it later. Because the last thing that we want to do is cause you more stress, even just by beginning the process of dealing with our stress. So I'll show you some examples of ways that you can list your stressors. So this first one is actually, I'll put it in here close to the camera, a list by category. So you may not be able to write down all your stressors just kind of all at once, but you can think about different categories or areas of your life and write down stresses that you might be feeling in that area. So financial, physical, emotional health, living situation, about job or school or your lack of, or stresses with family and friends, or other responsibilities, or whatever categories that you notice that you have things collecting in that are giving you stress. If that doesn't really help you much, let me show you another way of listing. This is actually a schedule of the day. Sometimes people, as they move through the day, can write down the stresses that they feel. Maybe there are certain things that happen in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, or only on the weekend. And so when you keep this close by, you can just write down things as you're moving through your day. If you're just not a list maker, then you can do this as well. Draw some pictures, right? You can tell that this is not my forte. I'm a good list maker, but even just writing down pictures that you know the meaning of for what that stress means, if you are more creative or artistic, that means more to you, then go ahead and list your stresses that way. And remember, these are the stresses that are unique to you. You're not making a list for anyone else about their life. You are making a list about your life and the things that cause you stress. Once you have made that list, then the next step, step 2, is to look at that list and ask these 2 questions. We're going to do this with every item on the list. So first we ask, is this important? Is this important? The second question we're going to ask is, can this be changed? Can this be changed? And the answers to those 2 questions will place each of those stressors in different categories. So I'm going to show you another diagram here. And these are the 4 categories of stressors that we can be feeling: important and changeable, important and unchangeable, unimportant and changeable, and unimportant and unchangeable. So with this chart, you see the 4 different areas. This helps us to begin to know what stress management tool to use in dealing with each of the things in these categories. It's like if you're working on a house, there are a variety of different tools to use. I don't build houses, so I won't try and impress you with my smarts about that. But you want to use the right tool for the job that you're doing. I do know that you wouldn't want to use a hammer to fix your iPad. Well, you might if you're already planning to get a new iPad. But the idea is you want to match the tool with the job that needs to be done. And so we're using that same idea as we look at stress management. So the first category is this important and changeable. That means that it's a very important thing in our life and there is something that we can do about it. These types of stressors are best managed by taking action to change the situation and to reduce the stress associated with them. The idea is we want to do something about these stresses. This is the area where much of our stress management energy is going to be directed, because this is where we can make a difference. And when we do make a difference, it's an important thing. Let's say that you've gained a few pounds over these last few weeks and your healthcare provider has told you it's detrimental to your health to gain weight. So this is important and is something that's changeable, and it's causing you stress because you know that you're not feeling as well. You really don't want to have gained that weight, and yet that's where you are. So what is it that we can do about it? First of all, we want to use problem solving. Problem solving is a system by which we identify what the problem is. So in this case, I've gained weight. And then we list ideas to solve the problem. So some of the ideas I might list, and this is just kind of a brainstorming time, is I might invest in a new book of healthy recipes. I might decide to get more exercise. I might decide to try a new diet that I've learned about. I might decide to start a weight loss support group. I might decide to use a diet or eating plan that I've used in the past with success. And then after we do that, we brainstorm those ideas, we choose one of those ideas and we start using it. Let's say I decided I don't really want to, change my eating right now. I think I'm just going to exercise more. So I increase my exercise in a couple of weeks. I weigh myself again and I can see if I've lost weight or not. If I have, great, I can continue to do what I've been doing. But if not, then the next step of problem solving is to evaluate the results, and it hasn't worked, and to choose a new strategy and start using that strategy instead. Now, you may find you need additional input or resources as you problem solve these things. By all means, ask people that can be helpful to you, ask for resources that can support you as you do this important thing. Other important things to know when we are dealing with stressors in this category is to use positive and healthy thinking and self-talk, imagining yourself being successful, not saying things that are going to discourage you to yourself, like, oh, I can't lose weight, I never can do this, but instead say things like, I know I can lose weight, I've done it in the past. I remember 2 years ago when I was feeling fantastic and it really wasn't all that hard, and I know that I can do it again. And we also want to be using effective communication with people, talking with people about what our needs and wants are as we are working through this problem, and enlisting support and help from our family members. They don't necessarily know that something is stressing us or that we're trying to work on something unless we're actually talking with them about it. So let's move on to the next category. And this is the important and unchangeable. This category of stressors is often the most difficult to manage. They really can make you feel hopeless and helpless, and perhaps there really is nothing you can do to remove them from your life. So even though you may not be able to change the situation, you may be able to use one of these suggestions to help you as you cope with the stress of being in this situation. First of all, changing the way we think or focus on the problem. Uh, for example, thinking, even though it sounds simplistic, but thinking how much worse it could be. You know, it could be worse. It could be this that's happening. Or to focus on finding a positive thing, one tiny little thing in that situation that seems positive or like a silver lining, and practice gratitude or being thankful for that thing. We can also distract ourselves, just, well, I can't do anything about it. I'm not going to spend my emotional or mental energy stressing about that problem, and working on accepting the things we really cannot change. The choice that we have in this situation is not whether or not this thing happens. The truth is, it has already happened. It's already in our lives. The choice that we have is, how am I going to deal with it? How am I going to live with it? And that is the area, the part that we actually can do something about. So a good way to deal with is to find some part of the problem that you can reclassify as changeable and change what you can about it. Let's say that you like to take a nap every afternoon for your health's sake. It gives you good energy, mental clarity, and you just feel better overall if you can take a nap every afternoon. So it's an important thing. Let's also say that your neighbor in the summer mows his lawn around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right at that time when you are wanting to take a nap. And so that's kind of an unchangeable factor. You don't have control over what your neighbor is doing. But what you can do is you can change how you are dealing with that noise. So first of all, if your neighbor is open to it, maybe you are able to talk with him and say, you know, I'm trying to take a nap. It's important for my health. Might it be possible for you to mow later in the afternoon? I don't know about your relationship with your neighbor. I don't know if that would even work for you. But instead, you might want to do something that you have control over. You might want to start using earplugs as you take your nap in the afternoon. Or you might also want to turn on a fan for white noise or music that you're playing softly while you're resting, so that you can still take a nap while he mows. Also, we can change our emotional reactions to the situation, which will reduce the stress that we feel from it. And so we know we can't change what is happening, but we can change how upset it makes us. So let's imagine with your neighbor that you say to yourself, well, I know he works nights, and I know that he mows the lawn when he wakes up in the morning. We might say it's perfectly reasonable for him to get on with his day and start mowing the lawn when he is able to. We might go further and say, isn't it wonderful that he's such a good neighbor, that he is careful about maintaining his lawn? He cares about his property. He cares about how the neighborhood looks, even though he works nights and it must be hard to get up and start doing things in the middle of the day. He's hardworking and he really is kind of a good guy. And so that hasn't actually changed the fact that he's mowing the lawn in the afternoon, but it has changed how you feel about him and the activity that he's doing. And you'll find that that actually makes you feel less stressed about the situation, rather than saying he's such a jerk, he doesn't care that I'm taking a nap. Just really looking at it from his point of view and finding the things that you can be grateful for in what he's doing. And you can actually just use other things to distract yourself or help yourself feel less stressed. So these would be things like journaling, spending time with family and friends, helping other people, volunteering, building into other people's lives. You're thinking about helping them instead of what's going on for you and the negative things that are happening to you. Exercising, using relaxation, journaling, using your senses, hearing, sight, smell, taste, touch, to bring you some enjoyment or some pleasure. And if you can use humor about the situation, maybe find something about the situation that causes you to smile or makes you laugh, or you can describe it in humorous terms to other people, and so that they can enjoy it too. Now, the next category is the unimportant, and changeable. So for unimportant stressors, the first thing you can do is just try letting go of it. But if you can't control it, but if you can control it with little effort, then go ahead and deal with it. When you solve small problems, that will build your skills and your confidence so you can move on to solving bigger problems in your life too. And for this, you would use the same strategies as for the important and changeable stressors. So you'd use that problem solving, you'd use positive, healthy thinking and self-talk, imagine yourself being successful, using effective communication and enlisting support from family and friends. We had a situation happen at our house like that recently. I usually do the grocery shopping, and I had purchased some potato chips for my husband, which he really enjoys, potato chips. But I was not at the store where his favorite brand was, so I got a different brand. So those were the chips that we had, which he opened and started to enjoy. A couple days later, I was able to get to the store again where I could buy the potato chips he really does like. And so now we had 2 bags of potato chips. The open one, which is not the brand that he likes, even though they're still fresh and crunchy, and the unopened brand. Well, it was a little bit of stress for him because he really likes his potato chips. But then he decided to go ahead and this was fine with me, to just open the bag of potato chips that he preferred. And so he was able to enjoy his potato chips. Now, I know that that's just a tiny example, and he would actually disagree with me that potato chips are not unimportant. Um, but he does agree that in the grand scheme of life, potato chips are not as important as many other things. But that's just kind of an example of how you can make a change in your situation without too much effort, just by changing the way you're looking at it or thinking about it. The last category that we'll talk about today is unimportant and unchangeable. So the best solution for these problems truly is to ignore them. Starting right now, give yourself permission to let go of the unimportant concerns. Everyone does have some of these things, and we should really try hard not to let them bother us. We can say something like, there's really nothing I can do about it anyway. It's not that important. I choose to let it go. I had an opportunity to practice this. I was continually getting a flyer in the mail that I did not want. I did not know how I got on the list to receive it, and it still kept coming. One time I read the small print where it said, if you want to unsubscribe, go onto this website and you can unsubscribe. So I did that, and I was all expectant and hopeful that in a few weeks I would stop getting that publication. Well, guess what? A few weeks later, it still came in the mail again. So when I had that piece of publication, that flyer, I looked at it and I said, I don't want this. I don't need this. I'm choosing to throw it away. And then that's what I did. I actually threw it away and thought, there, I'm all done dealing with it. I have let it go. It was apparently unchangeable. I tried. I couldn't, so I just let it go. So when we're in this category, there are other ways, obviously, than just throwing out flyers, but using distraction, humor, relaxation, focusing on positive things instead, and other ways that we've already talked about to deal with our stress. So we've spent a while talking about all of this. I've shared a lot of information, I know. It's still basically a 3-step process. First of all is figure out what your stressors are, recognize them so you know what's causing you personally stress. Ask the 2 questions about them. Do you remember them? Is this important? Can this be changed? Okay. And then depending on the answers to those questions, we'll use the appropriate strategy for them. Though this seems like a long process to go through, you are actually using it right now, even though you might not realize it. If you're driving through your neighborhood and you suddenly come on a road that's closed, you probably most likely think, oh, I can just turn right instead of left and I can head up the other street and get to where I want to go. Or you might say to yourself, I can do this errand tomorrow. I don't need to go out right now. And so you've actually already decided, is this important? And is this changeable? And you've responded to it already. The more we practice thinking in these terms, the more quickly you will be able to process and respond to the stressors, and the less stressed you will begin to feel. In addition, you may want to make a list of the things that you have already used to reduce your stress and anxiety. Things such as exercise, yoga, meditation, relaxation, breathing practices, being creative with art, journaling, connecting with friends, using aromatherapy or massage or taking a bath, playing with pets, being with children. There are many, many ways that we can actually reduce our stress and anxiety. And so when you discover a new thing that helps you feel less stressed or anxious, go ahead and write that down on a list. When you are feeling stressed, you can pull that list out, look down through it, and choose a way to help yourself without having to think too hard or too long about it. And this will help you as you build your repertoire of stress management, because the more helpful choices you have available to you, the more your ability to cope effectively is going to grow. Now, I know that stress can cause a lot of feelings of being overwhelmed, out of control, feeling hopeless or helpless, but by better understanding our unique stresses, changing the parts of it that we can, and learning to cope better with the stresses that can't be changed, we are actually becoming more in control and more in charge of our lives. And I just want to say, you are unique and amazing. No one else in the whole world has your set of skills, creativity, strength, or way of looking at doing things. You are wonderful. I'm guessing that you have persevered through some pretty tough things in the past, and you have overcome them. Use that wisdom and strength that you've gained as you've worked through those things to help you as you're facing the challenges of your life today. It may not be easy, but I really believe in your ability to look at the stresses in your life honestly and to make some positive changes. So much of the information that I've shared with you today has come from this wonderful resource book. It's called Living a Healthy Life with Chronic Conditions by Kate Lorig, Halstead Holman, David Sobel, Diana Laurent, Virginia Gonzalez, Marion Miner. It's published by Bull Publishing, and this is their 2012 edition. Thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon. We here at Gilda's Club hope this will help you as you work through the challenges of your life. Please feel free to contact us anytime for cancer or grief support, and know that we wish you less stress and more joy in your life. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Beth, for sharing that information with us. I love some of the analogies and questions that you shared that we can ask ourselves. And for those of you who don't know a lot about Gilda's Club, and you can see a picture of the clubhouse behind me, I'm not actually there because our clubhouse is not open to members at this point. We've shifted virtual. We have some classes like meditation and other support groups where if you are experiencing, if you're on a cancer journey, whether it's something that you are on yourself or someone that you care for is on, or you're experiencing grief due to any cause, we have resources available that we'd love to help you connect with. And you can feel free to call our clubhouse at 616-453-8300. There's somebody available to answer the call from 9 a.m. to, I think it's 7 p.m., correct? Okay, yes, I got it right. Monday through Thursday and Fridays from 9 until noon. You can also reach us at info@gildasclubgr.org. And we'd love to help share more about the work that we have here and the support resources we offer, including classes like meditation and different yoga classes for our members. We look forward to seeing you guys next week as we read a children's book and do an activity together. And we are so happy that you decided to join us today. Thanks.